Welcome to part 1 of my review of the Powerpuff Girls Z series. This spin-off of the Powerpuff Girls was made in 2006 in Japan. The character designs, which I love, were made by, and forgive me if I butcher this name, Miho Shimogaza, which is mostly known for her work on Sailor Moon as an animation director. The Powerpuff Girls wiki says that the show was co-produced by Cartoon Network Japan and Aniplex. The show had 52 episodes in total, yet today I'm only reviewing 10. I was super excited to get this video out, and I doubt you all wanted to sit through a really long video, even though this video will probably be longer than some of my other videos. So this will be a new series on my channel dedicated to Powerpuff Girls Z, if you guys are interested in that. Note from the future! So I wanted to get this video out before the month ended, and I never reviewed a show before in like my entire life on a YouTube channel. So I have no idea what I'm doing. Most of this video will not be me covering it episode by episode, but instead covering things I found interesting while watching these 10 episodes. If you have any tips, criticisms, or suggestions about how I review shows, leave them in the comments. I do look at the comments. Back to the past. I remember watching this show on YouTube when I was about 11 years old. I didn't watch much, yet I was fascinated by the concept. A spin-off show making a show I remembered enjoying as a kid, an anime. The more I watched the show, I quickly found it hard to find episodes of a series. Thankfully, someone called Muffin Man Archives on YouTube helped me out by putting the series available in a playlist, but I totally did not watch it there. You might ask why you've never heard of this series in the United States or Canada. It doesn't take much digging to find out that this spin-off of the Powerpuff Girls was never aired in the USA or Canada, yet it aired in multiple other places other than Japan, such as Australia, New Zealand, and the Philippines, with an English dub made by Ocean Productions. I heard it was also aired in Mexico, yet I have no idea how true that is. I've read an article by CBR about why Powerpuff Girls Z never aired in North American territories. The article stated, when the anime was first released, it seemed to have a rather divided fan base in America. Some welcomed the completely new take on the beloved series, but others hated it for that exact reason. Also, side note, when I say North American territories, I mean the United States, Canada, and possibly England, since I haven't seen any mentions of a show being aired in England or other surrounding territories as such. Side note over. The spin-off has many notable differences from the main series, which isn't bad. I actually enjoy the divergence from the original material. If you read the Wikipedia page for Powerpuff Girls Z, it says the show was made for the purpose of being Toei Animation's 50th year anniversary project, but I have no idea how true that is. What is the premise of the show, you might be asking? One day, 3 average girls are walking home from school, and they all individually get hit by a Z-ray, and it transforms them into the Powerpuff Girls. What is a Z-ray? A Z-ray was created from chemical Z, which deviated from the Zubra cake, accidentally getting knocked into chemical X. Z-rays can be dark or light depending on whether they are bad or good. Luckily, the Z-rays that hit the 3 girls were good, giving them superpowers. You will notice that if you watch the show for more than 5 minutes, Professor Utonium has a son named Ken. He's basically Spike from My Little Pony, just smarter. They even share a voice actress. Also, side note, I read on the Powerpuff Girls wiki that the Japanese voice actor was the original voice for Kirby, yet I have no idea how true this is due to the fact that I watched the English dub of the show instead of the original Japanese version of the show. Side note over. It also doesn't take long to notice that the Professor and Ken have a dog named Poochie, which basically takes the place that the phone did in the original series, calling the Powerpuff Girls and such. All 3 of them are 14, according to the Wikipedia. They all attend the same school. I don't want to butcher these names, like I said before, so I'll just call them Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. Side note, I wrote this script over multiple days. I have no idea where to put the talking section, so I'm going to put it here. I recorded 4 of them, but I felt most of them did not fit the tone of a video, so I took like 3 of them out. Enjoy the talking section. Hi, this is the part of the video where we talk about stuff. This is the talking section. But anyways, I have a few disclaimers to get out of the way before we get into the talking. I recorded all the talking sections for this video because there should be like four. Um, at least there are in my notes. I put that there should be like four talking sections. I might cut them down. I all the talking sections. I recorded them before recording the script, before doing anything else for this video. Um, and I feel a little bit sick right now, so if I sound a little bit weird, that is why. So, today in this talking section, we are talking about magical girl animes and why are they always in middle school? I'm sure you've heard of Sailor Moon or Madoka Magica or Tokyo Mew Mew or any other magical girl anime, and they're always like oh, I'm some person and I have like magical powers and I am so and so years old, right? And usually they are in middle school or high school. And that always struck me as like not weird, but it was always odd that I was most of the time in high school. Was it always just is it just a staple of the genre? Or is it just or is it more of a moral that you can accomplish anything that you can put your mind to? And also, another thing is that why are we letting middle schoolers save the world? This isn't like a meta thing, but this is more of like a lore thing. Because if we let middle schoolers save the world, that's I don't think that's going to go well, in my personal opinion, because I was a middle schooler once, and that was not good. That was not the best for anyone ever. Um, Middle schoolers, they are they are not the best people. Let's leave it at that. They are mean. They are irresponsible, and they are irrational. Not all of them, but most of them. And I think leaving them to save the world would be a very irresponsible decision. And I wonder, from a lore and like show perspective, what are they doing? I know it's like, oh, we just gave random people superpowers and that just happened to be this child by chance. But like there has to be at least one show where it's not, oh, this random kid got superpowers. Um like it has to be an agency or something, right? And if so, is that child labor? Like why? Why are the children willing to do this? What is that? Why would you be willing to work as a magical girl? Like, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be willing to risk my life as a 14-year-old, um, and to give up my studies and my grades to save the world. But then again, that also brings in another aspect of fear of, oh, this is the place I live, and can't, I need to protect it because I'm the only one who can protect it from these monsters and these whatever else is attacking it, and I'm the only person who can do that, me and my teammates, if they do have teammates. Um, so maybe that's a reason why they are doing it. Um, a reason I put this in, a reason I put this into my script to, this is unscripted, by the way. A reason I put this in my notes to talk about this was because in Powerpuff Girls Z, they say a lot that they skip lunch, that they fall behind on their studies, and that stuff like that happens all the time. So, why would you give up on that? Why would you want to give up on your studies and stuff. Maybe it would be a reason to keep your family and your world and whatever safe. But I don't know. I don't know. Um, I'm not some storytelling person. Like, I do write, but I'm not some storytelling genius, you know? Um, and another reason I think, uh, like, my mom brought this up to me while I was doing this. She was like, oh, a reason that they did this was because it could be the target audience. They wanted to make it relate to them more. So maybe it's a target audience. I could totally see that happening. So I put together a spreadsheet and I will put it up on screen. If I don't put it up on screen, I am sorry. Is my failure. I'm sorry for my failures as an editor. But whatever. Um, but that would make sense to have the main characters be middle schoolers if most of these shows were targeted towards middle schoolers. And another thing is that, sorry, I'm trying to think right now. Another thing is that I remember whenever I was doing the spreadsheet, I only put like 3 animes in there total, like 3 shows. So maybe I don't have a wide data set, like a wide enough data set. But it was 3 shows, 19 characters in total. And one of the characters was technically like 100, which like that shouldn't have counted. So I took one of them characters out, and then I also put in the notes on the spreadsheet that what the total was with that character. Like, you can see it on the spreadsheet. But I really think it is interesting that Sailor Moon, which I believe, I don't know if this is correct. I have no idea if this is correct. This is just my personal theory. I could be totally wrong, because I'm just 17 and I'm just making shit up, and this is just my personal theory. I think so. I think Sailor Moon was like the first magical girl anime, and she was like, "Oh, I'm 14," and then that became like super duper popular, and then people were like, "Oh, this works." So then they just started making stuff, but then varying other stuff, but then not varying like the the variable of the age of character. You get what I mean? Um, and I really think that's all I have. No, that is not all I have. I'm going to have to cut that out. If I don't cut it out, it's whatever. But there is this game that I saw. I have it on my Steam. I have it in my Steam library, and it's called Life After Magic. And it's about a magical girl who is no longer a magical girl, and she drops out of high school, and she, I've never played the game. I planned on playing it, I just never got to it. But the game looks wonderful. It has a pixel art style. I would totally recommend it. It's free on Steam. Go put it in your Steam library. Oh my gosh. I would totally recommend. 10 out of 10. That's all I have for this talking section. I must say, as a fan of the magical girl genre, I think these magical girl transformations are awesome, yet they do get boring to watch the 1,000th time around, like every other magical girl transformation. The trio get their weapons and their powers from saving children. Well, children who are younger than them. Blossom gets a yo-yo, Bubbles gets a bubble wand, and Buttercup gets a hammer. Like how I said there are notable differences with the series as a whole, this includes the girls' personalities. Blossom is a bit rude in this show, I will not lie. Blossom also has a whole episode where she has a crush on a superhero named Johnny Cosmo. She has a strong sense of justice and will stick to her morals, even if it means being a bit rude. Buttercup hates being girly and prefers to watch sports. She is still aggressive. Buttercup, in my opinion, is the most who is like her original show counterpart. And finally, Bubbles was described to be as mature and kind on the wiki and in the show. We see that she loves fashion and she is less ditzy than in the original series. In the first episode, we see that everyone has been affected by Z-rays because Ken impulsively tried to fix the problem with Chemical Z. In another episode, we realize that Ken never had a mom, so the Powerpuff Girls vow to be his mothers. When these 14-year-olds don't know how to do stuff like laundry or controlling their emotions or being kind, Ken reasonably gets mad and takes a walk. Mojo, who is trying to establish a dictatorship and turn everyone into monkeys, turns Ken into a monkey. By the end of the episode, Ken is like, yeah, this is my family. I don't know, maybe he's literally 8 years old, and all 8-year-olds are a little bit mean, not even on purpose. Even though he may be smart academically, I doubt an 8-year-old would have the emotional capacity to handle a lot of things. Side note, in one episode, Mojo wants to build a human zoo to show humans what he experienced before he got hit with Z-rays. Now, like Dr. Doofenshmirtz almost once said, if I had a nickel for every time a show featured a human zoo, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Side note over. In episode 5, 14 minutes and 42 seconds in, it shows that Mojo kills someone for their magnet shoes. Which brings up one of the things I really like about this show. It's how the professor will make at least a few inventions. I think it's really cool. In episode 6, we see Blossom obsessing over a superhero named Johnny Cosmo. He's actually a fraud and a huge coward. So when Blossom and the other Powerpuff Girls save him, he proceeds to take the credit for all their actions. In the other half of the episode, we meet the Amoeba Gang, which shares a color scheme with the Powerpuff Girls, and they have British accents. They are literally germs. Why do they have British accents? When they have to face the Amoeba Trio, they realize the answers to their biology test, which why would the teacher let them leave all at the same time? Did the teacher not think that they were cheating? One thing this series really cannot decide on is if it wants to keep the Powerpuff Girls' identity a secret, because one moment it'll be like, oh, people can't find out that we're superheroes, but then the next moment, it's like everyone already knows in one way or another that they're the Powerpuff Girls. In the Sedusa episode, Sedusa transforms by putting on lipstick, and she starts stealing stuff and being deceptive, like committing full-on identity fraud. Like, honestly, you go girl, let women have hobbies, like geez. I also want to say again, if I hadn't said it before, Bubbles is way smarter in the original series, probably because they're older and because they changed their personalities a bit, but I'm here for the change. In episode 9, the professor says, living with school and being a superhero, it's a part of the job. Like, you basically curse these girls with these powers, they should not be forced to protect the city. In episode 10, we meet Him, and of course, Him was a flamboyant hairstylist when he was human. I'm also very happy to inform everyone that Him does look like a Muppet in this version of the show. This episode and many other of these episodes make me question how Townsville is not destroyed yet. The mayor even brings it up multiple times, like asking how you guys are going to destroy the city, please stop destroying the city. So I've talked about all 10 episodes in one way or another, and for some reason I don't feel satisfied. I'm looking back at this script and I'm starting to feel like I'm staring back at a past version of myself that maybe didn't know any better but to be motivated. I always have this fear of my videos that they aren't good enough, or that I'm putting a bad opinion in my videos. I strive to be the kindest and most accepting person I can. Yet unfortunately, you can't appeal to everyone. Not everyone is built the same. Not everyone will like your opinion. Maybe that's why it's so hard to be an artist. Not that I'm an artist by any means. I believe that once you put a piece of media or art out into the world, it's lost to the winds of people's interpretation, whether to be liked or disliked. Maybe that's a surface level take. I don't know. Sometimes I have to wonder, maybe that's the point of art in the first place. To not be left with personal intention. but to be left with a collective intention. But then you have to wonder, when does the collective intention seep into personal intention from person to person that isn't the artist? I don't know. That's all I have for this video. Check the description for links. I hope you have a good day. Bye.